The combat sports world was left reeling after a disturbing incident that blurred the lines between scripted entertainment and real-life consequences. On October 23, 2025, what was supposed to be a routine wrestling event at the KnokX Pro Wrestling Academy in Sun Valley, California, that turned into an absolute nightmare scenario that would send shock waves through both the MMA and professional wrestling communities. Raja Jackson, the 25-year-old son of UFC legend Quentin Rampage Jackson, found himself at the center of controversy after an altercation with professional wrestler Stuart Smith, better known by his ring name Psycho Stu. The incident, which was live-streamed on the Kick platform, quickly went viral across social media, sparking debates about fighter safety, event management, and the responsibilities of combat sports athletes in entertainment. Facial bones is, from what I'm hearing, missing. Teeth has no recollection of what happened, incoherent, and then even from the people closest to it now that I'm disassociating with, they won't even put out the full story. Raja, a professional MMA fighter with limited experience in the wrestling world, had been invited to participate in what organizers described as a planned segment during the evening's festivities. However, what unfolded was far from planned. A miscommunication and mounting tensions escalated into a situation that left one man hospitalized and raised serious questions about industry protocols. Hey guys, Ben here. Now, the incident involving MMA fighter Raja Jackson going off script during a professional wrestling match. It's blowing the internet up now. As the KnokX Pro Wrestling Academy, which has been operating for about 17 years without a major incident, suddenly found itself dealing with police investigations, potential lawsuits, and the possibility of losing its WWE affiliation. The event, known as the KnokX Experience, was meant to showcase local talent and provide entertainment for wrestling fans. Instead, it became a cautionary tale about what can happen when combat sports and entertainment collide without proper safeguards. Stuart Smith, a U.S. military veteran who had turned to professional wrestling as a way to cope with PTSD, became an unwilling participant in what many described as one of the most disturbing incidents in recent wrestling history. The footage of the altercation showed Smith being repeatedly struck while apparently unconscious, creating a scene that horrified viewers and prompted immediate calls for accountability. As the news of the incident spread, prominent figures in the combat sports world, including Joe Rogan, began weighing in on what had occurred and what it meant for the future of both industries. The story would evolve from a simple altercation into a complex discussion about mental health, communication failures, and the responsibilities that come with being a public figure in the combat sports world. Oh my God. He's bleeding so bad. More horrific footage has now emerged of the Raja Jackson incident. But it's also the roots of the incident can be traced back to events that occurred before the wrestling show even began. Video footage that surfaced after the altercation revealed a confrontation in the parking lot between Raja Jackson and Psycho Stu that would set the stage for what happened later in the ring. According to multiple witnesses, Stuart Smith approached Raja Jackson in the parking area and struck him on the side of the head with a prop beer can. This action was intended to be part of a scripted build-up to their later interaction in the ring. A common practice in professional wrestling known as working or creating storylines outside the formal performance area. However, crucial communication failed to occur. Raja Jackson, who had limited experience with wrestling protocols and storytelling methods, was not informed that the parking lot incident was part of the scripted entertainment. From his perspective, he had been genuinely struck by a stranger without provocation or explanation. Rampage Jackson later revealed on social media that his son had been told he could get his payback in the ring, but clarified that Raja believed this meant he was authorized to respond with legitimate force. The elder Jackson emphasized that he thought the entire sequence was part of the show and had no idea that his son was operating under different assumptions. There was other people that could have got involved that I made eye contact with, but they just stayed by the stage. Let me put it this way. I'm sorry to Stu that the people that said that they were your friends let this happen. Adding to the confusion was Raja's recent concussion from sparring sessions just days before the event. Medical experts later suggested that head injuries can affect judgment and impulse control, potentially contributing to Raja's inability to recognize the scripted nature of the interaction or to moderate his response appropriately. The lack of clear communication between event organizers, participating wrestlers, and Raja Jackson created a perfect storm of misunderstanding. This communication breakdown highlights a broader issue in combat sports entertainment: the assumption that all participants understand the unwritten rules and protocols that govern these hybrid events between legitimate competition and scripted performance. When Raja Jackson entered the ring during Psycho Stu's match, spectators initially assumed they were witnessing a planned interference spot, a common element in professional wrestling, where outside participants disrupt ongoing matches to advance storylines. However, what unfolded would quickly reveal itself to be something entirely different. Jackson immediately performed a double leg takedown on Stuart Smith, slamming him to the mat with considerable force. The impact caused Smith's head to strike the wrestling surface, and witnesses reported that he appeared to lose consciousness almost immediately. At this point, a trained professional wrestler would have recognized the situation and adjusted their performance accordingly. Applause. Instead, Raja Jackson continued his actions, delivering what witnesses estimated to be over 20 strikes to Smith's head and face while the wrestler lay motionless. Video footage of the incident shows Smith not responding or defending himself, clearly indicating that he was unable to participate in what observers had initially assumed was a choreographed sequence. The crowd's reaction shifted from excitement to horror as it became apparent that something had gone wrong. Shouts and screams could be heard from spectators who realized they were witnessing a real altercation rather than scripted entertainment. Several audience members began recording the incident on their mobile devices, footage that would later be crucial in understanding what had occurred. Other wrestlers quickly intervened with multiple performers, rushing into the ring to restrain Raja and separate him from Smith. Wrestling veteran Douglas Mallow was among those who helped pull Jackson away. Later, describing the scene as unlike anything he had witnessed in decades of involvement with professional wrestling. Around with the radio, I walk back to the ring. I see the slam. I see the first punch, second punch, and by then I had people in front of me and I just start moving. I kind of wish I would have just sprung on like the slam. So that's why, even after being restrained, Jackson continued to show signs of agitation and aggression. Witnesses reported that he remained verbally hostile and seemed prepared to continue the altercation if given the opportunity. It took the combined efforts of multiple wrestlers and event staff to escort him from the ring area and eventually from the venue entirely. Stuart Smith remained motionless on the mat for several minutes after the incident, with medical personnel immediately summoned to attend to what were later described as serious injuries, including facial fractures and dental damage. Perhaps the most heartbreaking aspect of the entire incident was watching Quentin Rampage Jackson learn about his son's actions in real time during a live stream. The former UFC champion was broadcasting to his audience when news of the altercation reached him, creating a moment of genuine shock and paternal concern that was captured for viewers to witness. "Are you fine? Let me see. Move his face. Hey, is he going to get banned for it?" To witness. Initially, Rampage appeared confused when chat messages began mentioning that something had happened involving Raja.